All right. We'll see if this works.
What are we expecting to see?
All right. Well, we're expecting to see live with what we're seeing.
Okay.
So what's going on, boys? I think I might have made this work. And I'm just a sales guy.
That's awesome.
Super
And we are
dangerous.
live.
The good news is that we are live. We can see the questions that are coming in.
Oh, we can.
So what we will see is we will see the live stream behind us, or I'll see it in the studio, but we'll see that that's about 20 seconds behind. But that's okay because
Yeah, there we go.
we're in it. We're on it. We're making it happen. Lumberjack did it. Oh, I was so freaking flipping out if this was going to work. My Christmas miracle came early.
I'm glad I was a part of it.
Yeah. So guys, this is a live stream and we're doing it. We're doing it right. So guys, good morning. This is the three amigos. Super pumped to have us all here. First of all, Merry Christmas, my dudes.
Merry Christmas to you too, to everybody.
Yeah, to everybody watching, hanging out with us on Christmas Eve. Yep, we get to see, now I'm just getting to see all this stuff. And man, we got a bunch of good questions already. Holy cow, I'm going to need to get a second monitor sometime soon. That is definitely in the budget.
Well, in this method, it works pretty good to pull it up on your phone so you can see the chat as they come in.
The good news is I've got enough real estate on my big monitor where I can still see all of us and all the questions.
It's because I think you're a secret gamer and you just don't tell anybody.
Yeah. If there's ever a trivia question about the original Star Wars, Dion, I'm your dude. I'm your dude. In commemoration one year of my birthday, when I was a teenager, I watched, because I was born in the year 1977 when the movie came out. I watched it 77 times that summer.
So this is my actual, I'm in my office today. This is my actual desk. That's my phone.
Shut up.
Yeah. It's Bluetooth, hooks to everything, and then it plays. It might be really loud, but this is my exit music when I leave every day.
You guys.
That's magnificent.
My poor office staff. It plays for 3 minutes when I leave.
So what I'm actually, I might not get a Lambo and I might just wait and save up for a TIE fighter.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Except there's no place to park the TIE fighter, I mean, it's very,
so you got to buy more real estate.
I was going to say, yeah.
Clearly I need an airport hangar.
Yeah, exactly.
That was something I was looking at for about 6 months. And I was like, what am I doing? I just need a place to land a helicopter.
Yeah.
Silly me. So guys, we've got questions. We got people jumping in. So super excited to have us here together for this live stream. No pressure, but I did set it up for 2 hours just in case. I know that we, especially if somebody talks to me about a certain channel, I can go for 2 hours. The live stream, Mr. and Mrs. Lumberjack, was a lot of fun last night. Dan, thanks for showing up.
No, I think you guys did great. It was really good. You guys went into some detail on questions that I think that it's really hard to make a video thinking and coming up with content where people that are learning this need to hear this, but when the question comes up and it sparks the conversation, it's the perfect format to learn from.
Yeah, completely. We love it. It's been awesome. We've actually had couples showing up and people sharing it with husbands and wives, and it's awesome. I love it. So really, really, really cool. So let's jump into the highs and stuff real quick, and then we'll cover any topics you guys want to cover. But Theta Hedge Capital, howdy, happy holidays to you guys and your families. Thank you, Theta Hedge. John, Texas, Merry Christmas. Dion Financial Talk, hey, howdy. Wolfmaster 82, Merry Christmas. Brent Denner, Merry Christmas, three amigos. Jermiel Diaz, happy holidays, three amigos. Dan Hunter, hello, thanks for spending your Christmas Eve with us. We're happy to do it. If not, we'd probably be doing this private and just hanging out. That's what kind of works. Chester Williams, good afternoon, gentlemen. Rob, howdy. Chester Williams, this will be on in BG for a little bit. Oh, background. Merry Christmas. Yep, good. Hey, you know what? Nothing like inviting people over for Christmas Eve and having them get a real estate education in the process. Jermiel Diaz, awesome phone. See, already fans of the TIE Fighter, Dion. Anthony Rosales, good morning from Mike's channel to the Lumberjacks to Dio's. Let's do it. I agree. Let's do it to it. So, Michael, I watched your daily financial news this morning. It was good. Any other thoughts?
Thanks. Well, I think there's a couple of things going on. First, new home sales are kind of the interesting tidbit today. But again, if people are watching my daily shows, we should have expected it, right? What have the new home builders been telling us? They're slowing down.
Yeah.
Inflation is real.
Yeah.
Dead days are real. Not enough labor, not enough lots. Well, guess what? You put all of that together, you probably should expect transactions to go down.
Yep.
So transactions, folks, we're down 14%, I think. Kind of sounds scary until you realize that values are up 18% or 19%.
Yeah. So, Mike, one of the things that we were asked on the live stream last night was, Matt, what's your forecast for 2022? And so I was very bold and I said, prices up, rates up, rents up, inventory up, and mortgage terms up.
What do you mean by that? 40-year, you mean?
Yep.
Okay.
We get a 40 for sure. Yeah. And potentially a reunion tour with adjustable rate mortgages.
Oh, I know. That's really scary to think about. Yeah. The fact that bankers now are pushing, again, not all bankers are this way, but enough of them are, in my opinion, for this statement to be true. And first and foremost, all companies are in business to make a profit. I'm just saying. Whoa.
Throwing the heat on Christmas Eve, Mike.
Whoa, Michael, that's crazy. And if we don't know by now, banks make money when they originate loans. There's a lot of fees. They don't make loans holding them for 30 years. They just don't. And it's really hard to make money when you're giving away rates at 3%. It's just tough. And I think banks are forecasting. The only thing that you didn't say in your forecast next year are transactions. I think transactions are down.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that means less loans. And oh, by the way, if you watch me and Matt, the mortgage guy, you know that I think he said it was 72% of loans have been originated in the last 2 years. That means refis are going to be down.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Of course. So
if you are a big box technology-based mortgage company, you are going to lose. You're going to lay off a lot of people. Better.com is not it might have been the first, but won't be the last. It's going to be a very tough business to be a mortgage broker because a lot of you got fat, dumb, and happy and lazy. It was a good time while a good time. And guess what? The party's over. And I think the same is for real estate agents. I think a lot of real estate agents, there's a lot more of them now than there were 2 years ago. The easiest thing to do was list and sell. It's going to be a different market. So I think transactions are down. Everything else you said, I think is a layup, frankly. But I do think transactions are down.
Yeah,
there's one aspect that people haven't thought of as Mike said, the evil side of business is that you're trying to make money. So it might not be good for lenders in the next 6 months to a year, but here's a thing that investors really haven't thought of. And this is something I get from owning and operating a business. So I'll relate running that business to running a portfolio. Right now we're seeing inflation. And most people just say things are costing more because of XYZ. And what they're forgetting is that a lot of this inflation is due to bottlenecks.
Yeah.
Fuel prices doubled 250% because we close a pipeline. Not because there's less fuel or because there's more demand. It's because the source of the fuel got limited. So I run a truck driving school. Fuel prices go up. Prices go up. We've had 2 price increases in the last year, first time in 10 years. We haven't touched prices in literally a decade, but because of so much inflation, wage inflation, we've done a 20% raise across the board. Fuel costs more.
20 points.
Right. So, we were in Washington State. The person sitting at home on unemployment was making $720 a week. How do you compete with that? To draw people off of the couch into work, you had to compete with $75,000 a year to sit on unemployment.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is a bottleneck. That extended and extra unemployment only lasted for the year. It's not going to happen next year. So businesses are increasing prices. Property portfolios, we've talked about it several times. Rent increases are 20 to 40%. I talked about it yesterday. I had just had Section 8 add $360 to a tenant where they had previously said, we're not going to budge. And when I showed them what rents were happening in the area, because they go off of historical data, and they saw, well, that's the current rents, they raised it for me they sent the confirmation email through which is here. So prices go up like rockets. They don't come down.
No, that's
Next
called
year,
that's
so
called
sticky.
inelastic.
Yeah.
property, paying a handyman costs more. Your taxes went up this year. All of those things that factored into rents going up, wage inflation happening, causing rents to go up. Next year, if fuel prices come down, rents are going to come down. If rates go up and it costs more money to purchase a property that you have to invest, rents aren't going to come down. So the people who own currently the appreciating assets are going to win last year, this year, and next year. Definitely.
Yeah, there's no question. Absolutely
Yep.
right.
I agree. So we got some questions, boys. So Journiel Diaz, I was thinking of purchasing long-term hold with hard money, then burring out in a couple of months. But is there any way around the 6-month seasoning period to pay it back sooner? I think we're looking at refer to the paperwork, right? Because usually there isn't. And I mean, guys,
it depends on how it depends on what you need, right? Most people doing this want to get all their money back. If your goal is to get all your money back, then you got to wait 6-month seasoning period. That's what FHA and all the lenders want.
correct.
However, if you're in a state where you just need to purchase money back and you don't care about the repairs, right? You just got to look at the process, right? If you want to get the value of the burr, right, the repair, and you want that, you have to have a seasoning period. You certainly could go to a non-QM lender, but then you're not going to get the best rate. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want the money back a little sooner, or do you want the cheapest debt? The problem is rates are going up, right? So you talk to a non-QM lender where I got loans at 3.99, now they're 4.25, right? They're already adjusting rates. So if you can go to a non-QM lender like Velocity Mortgage that I talk to every Friday, if you take copious documented notes of what you did, like receipts, they could do a valuation based on purchase and upgrades in less than 6 months. But again, it's give and take. Do you want the best rate? Do you want your first 10? You want to go to Matt the Mortgage Guy? Well, then you got to wait. The rules of the game, you got to wait 6 months. If you want the money back faster and you pay a higher rate, go non-QM. So lots of people want both. I want all my money back and the lowest rate. Well, 6 months. You can't have everything.
And if I can give,
then you're likely
go ahead, Matt.
Then you're likely rate risk, right? Mike?
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
6 months, that's falling into
that's
June,
1,
July.
2.
Yeah, it's
2 rate,
yeah, it's
right?
not. Yeah, that'd be my concern. Go ahead, Dion.
right. So, and this is the most common mistake that people make with the burr method. When you purchase a property, you look at the comps and you think this is 4 units or less. So 5 units or more, yeah, it's on not up earning income, but 4 units or less, you base on comps. When you're buying a property, it's a little easier to get the appraisal at your asking value because the appraiser has an actual human right now today with an offer in hand saying, I want to pay this amount of money for that property. So that factors in. When you go to do the burr method, there is not an offer to buy the property for your offer price of what you're asking to refinance out. You bought it reduced even though it needed work. So the appraiser is generally going to use comps from 6 months before your purchase price, not from when you go to refinance, but 6 months before you're purchased, when you acquired the property. So if we've seen a great amount of appreciation in that 6 months before you acquired the property, you're probably going to come under on your appraisal. So a lot of people think, I found a horrible appraiser. He won't give me what the comps are. Correct. There isn't somebody buying your property. That would change what the appraisal would be. So be really careful that you're estimating a good buffer in there with comps based on what they were 6 months ago, not what you're expecting them to be 6 months from now.
Yeah, most burrs blow up because you don't understand that a purchase money appraisal is different than a refi appraisal, and they are markedly different.
And
that's where most people blow up.
If you're still doing your work every single day like you should be, you will likely be tracking in your spreadsheet what properties like that are now closing and selling for. You must, under no circumstances should you ever go out to an appraisal appointment where you do not carry at least 2 comps with you. Period. End of story. It's not even a question. All the time, I'm talking through that refi when that guy's there and saying, yeah, I think, how this compares to that other one. And I'm constantly comparing them to the 2 comps that I brought. Because the only thing I want them thinking when they walk out that door is, man, this guy knows his market cold. He already brought 2 comps. How can I not at least use those 2 and maybe add another 1 or 2, but how can I not at least use those 2? I have been through this process of cash out refis. I have done it almost 30 times. And that is my process every single time. It never deviates from that. And that's why I think maybe in all of those times I've been disappointed with the refi twice. And I was able to prove in both cases that both of those appraisers didn't do their job. That I actually did a better job than they did in assessing what my property is worth. And so I told the bank, I said, listen, next time, don't charge me the $1,000. I'll take care of it. And I'll give you a report on what my property is worth. And they laughed and they said, we're not going to do that. And I said,
yeah, that's not our process.
They said, you're such a bank. You're so rigid. All right. So the next one, Rob, this one's to Michael.
Oh,
getting ready to close on my SD duplex and inheriting tenants. I will be doing no cause eviction in March when the lease is up. Should I let them know now or just notifying at 60-day?
Given that you're buying the property, I don't think I would be in a rush to notify them. You don't know what you've got yet. I don't think I would notify them. I mean, if these were tenants and I owned it for a year or something, I think I would give them a heads up, because you have that relationship. Today, you're essentially buying a building and getting tenants.
Yep.
I would certainly wait because you just don't know what you have.
Yep. I agree. I would wait. Dion, any thoughts on this?
I'm torn, actually. So
Yeah.
I try to give as much notice as
of a heads up.
possible, because if the
Exactly.
person moves out sooner, then I can up my timeline on when I do the rehab, when I get the new tenants in there. Personally, I would use the binder strategy and keep the tenants and have them raise the rent without me having to do the rehab, but I'm super lazy and it works for me. The problem with giving them as much early notice as you can, and it's not a no fault eviction, it's a non-renewal of lease. You're saying the lease is ended, we're not renewing. So there's no
Right.
eviction, no court process or anything. That's when you could trigger the person going, fine, don't renew the lease. And I'm stopping paying now because I've got to save for a few months to have my deposit and everything. So if you can't handle a few months without rent, more than you might need to, I would wait until the 60 days.
So what I have done in this particular case is I have actually done the binder strategy as the way to get them out. I said, hey, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so what I did was I basically said to them, this is what the number is going to be. And instead of, and saying, and then I use other market rents to support a really high number. And I said, this is what the market is going to be on this unit. So I wanted to make sure to have that conversation with you now and, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that and what you think we might be able to work out.
Yeah. The other thing we don't know about this scenario, I was just reading it again.
Please.
Maybe he's going to evict him because he wants to remodel the unit. So binder strategy doesn't work,
Well, but here's the reason I do it, right? To Dion's point, I might not want to spend 10 G's or 8 G's on the unit.
Yeah,
so if I can get them to pay the number that I'm thinking I might get with it done.
with no repair. Yeah. Yeah. You win, double win.
Cool. You can stay.
Yeah.
Right. So recently I did a post in a Facebook group where I normally just go there and listen and I don't talk because they're pretty rough in there. It's called Fat Fire. So Fat Fire on Facebook is supposedly the rich people when they talk to each other. So I just kind of listen. It's kind of entertaining. I put the binder strategy in there and I was like, look,
I think
if you have
go
rentals,
crash a party.
I'm gonna
I was
go
like,
look
if
that
you
up
have
right
rentals,
now.
here's a way to get your rents to go up. And the trolls come out of the woodwork and just attack you and just say all kinds of horrible, cool things that I'm going to save and say to someone else in the future. But
you're gonna save and tell somebody else.
people say things like, well, what do you do if the
inventive
tenant
insulting.
doesn't ask for the rent to go up? Well, it's never happened. And then they say, well, what if they won't ask for the rent to go up? Then you're in Matt's shoes. You're like, well, that's what I needed it to be. So now I'm not going to renew your lease.
Exactly.
I've never seen it. And it's never happened with an investor that I've worked with. But the worst case scenario, if it blew up in your face, is you are where most landlords start from, where you're just telling the tenant, there's either going to be an increase or you have to move out. And so maybe both options are here for this question. See what they would pay before you don't renew. They might put it where he wants it and he doesn't have to spend the money on the rehab.
Maybe.
I had a unit that we just did this on and I got $100 less than my number and it was going to be a $15,000 rent out.
Yeah, but the key is, again, he's talking about, so he knows he has to give notice at 60 days.
Yep.
But
If he wants them gone.
Right. But so he's going to close, let's call it January 1st. So he's basically saying, do I tell him in January, which is 90 days early?
Yep.
Or do I wait till February 1st? My answer is you don't know what you got in January.
Agreed.
Just
agreed. I would, if like what I would do is I would do it probably a week before the 60.
Sure.
do the binder a week before the 60 and then see. Because even 3 weeks, like,
Yeah.
I sent out I actually have a letter that I just did because we had to do a bunch of notification of where your new landlord. We actually just closed on a deal on Wednesday. So we had to do a
Nice.
bunch of that stuff. And so I'm actually going to
Congrats.
send that out to a bunch of folks. Oh yeah. Thanks.
Is that the one that took you over 100?
That is the one. No, the one I have 2 under agreement that takes me over the 100. That one that I bought is the Lamborghini house.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing my Ferrari sweatshirt. And just so you know, the only Ferrari I own is this. Thank God for having a tenant that worked in the store that sells this gear.
There you go.
She's like, hey, you like cars, right? I was like, I do. She goes, I can get you my discount on a Ferrari sweatshirt if you want. I was like, I do. Take it off your rent. Well done. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. All right. So, but bunch of good questions too coming out. All right. So, all right. That was Mike's. Nakodon Don from Colorado. Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas, Don. Chester Williams, Matt, you and Ashley knocked it out of the park. I'd like both Michael and Dion's take on the long-term debt cycle. I agree with Matt's assessment that everything is up but transactions and refis. So what are your guys' assessments? I think we covered a little bit, but let's dive in. Michael.
Oh, Michael. So again, the long-term debt cycle, are we talking about, or are we talking about my forecast for 2022?
Long-term debt cycle. And so he wasn't forecast for 2022. It was more kind of long-term debt cycle, kind of what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Yeah. So when I hear people say that now and again, I don't have the context of yesterday's conversation. I think they're talking about Ray Dalio and his concern, right? So
exactly.
I read his first book, thick read, and I'm an econ guy. I'm into his second book about 25%. It's he has an opinion, and his data seems to be skewing that way, which always makes me nervous, right? It's like, always buy gold, Peter Schiff. Like, there's never been a time not to buy gold, Peter Schiff, like ever. Like, are you sure? So those things concern me. That said, as I said on the Daily Financial News this morning, I believe there is a price to pay for adding 40% to M2, which is called the money supply, in the last 20 to 24 months. I believe a lot of that has to be extracted. It'll either be extracted via inflation, taxes, or losses, or all of them.
Yes.
Or all of them. So I am certainly concerned. Again, this morning, I think on my live stream, I talked about rates are going up. Are we going to see a repeat of the 80s in Paul Volcker, right? And again, if you didn't see that, rates basically went from 8 to 16%. So do I think rates are going to 16%? Of course not. All right, well, rates went up 800 basis points. Do I think rates go from 3 to 11? Of course not. But the last one, rates doubled. They went from 8 to 16. Can rates, and again, I'm talking mortgage rates, but you can insert any rate here you want. Can mortgage rates go from 3 to 6?
Yes.
I think yes.
Yes.
And I think that has ramifications. I think there's a lot of zombie debt, a lot of corporate debt, a lot of variable rate debt. That's why I spent all of 2021 getting out of variable rate debt on purpose, with focus and intention. I think rates go to 6%, the economy stops. I think Jerome Powell has to cause a recession. I think he needs a recession, and I unfortunately think it needs to be a long recession, meaning 3-4 quarters, because I don't think you can have that much dollars created without lots of bad stuff happening. And one way out is to cause a recession, which means pain, which means we take the $1.3 trillion in excess savings and burn it off. And again, I think I've been saying this the last 6 months, I'm not particularly excited about 2022 from a business cycle. I think we are going to be raising rates into a recession, which is like unheard of. But then again, stopping an economy and dumping 40% of the dollars is unheard of as well. So I think the pain needs to be a problem. But the long-term debt cycle, like generational stuff, I'm not sure I buy into Ray Dalio's. But again, I'm only 25% through. But that said, I only worry about the short term, and I think there's a recession. 2022 may be too soon, but I'd be shocked if there's not one by 2023. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, so I'm glad Mike's here, because I want to ask a couple questions of an econ guy, because I'm not an econ guy. When it comes to long-term debt cycle, I have the complete layman opinion of, if you have 30-year fixed rate debt, things are costing more, rents are going up, but your mortgage stays the same, you're winning. You go to an adjustable rate mortgage, long-term debt cycle, you're screwed. Like that's the technical professional opinion.
I think that is exactly correct.
Clinical diagnosis, perfectly done.
But let's step it back one step further to remember, it's hard to remember what it's like to not know something. So here's a concept that not a lot of people have thought. Mike, econ guy. If a bank is charging you 4% interest on a mortgage loan, what percentage of that is their profit? Because the Fed sets a rate. So from that rate to what the mortgage is, about what do you think that would be? 1%, 1.5%?
It's between 1.5% and 2%. And again, they move that around based on how nervous or scared, because again, inside profit is loan loss reserves, right?
Correct.
So again, so it's somewhere between 1.5% and 2% usually.
Okay. So, and then it's also based on competition.
Of
if
course.
this bank says we're going to charge this bank says, well, we could squeeze our margins down here and be at least competitive,
That's
right?
right.
So they're playing with what they're going to profit.
Yeah.
If a bank is charging you 8% interest, how much of that is profit?
It would probably be on
to 1.5%.
It'd probably be on the high side of that, I would guess. Because again, if we're
going to
grow
because it scales.
Yeah, it's still. I don't believe that banks' profits. I could go back and look at this and make sure, but I'd be shocked if it ever got above 3% because of competition.
Right. So when we were paying 15, 18% in the 70s and 80s, the Feds had set a rate.
Of course.
Banks were playing with what they could to profit against competition and against whatever their fears were. But most people who have looked at mortgages think, right now I want to get it because the banks are only charging me 3.5%. Right. If the bank starts charging me 8%, the bank's making $1 billion and I'm paying. No. The Feds are setting a rate and the banks are playing with the same margin. So when you look at the long-term debt cycle, where the Fed set the rates affects how the Fed repays its debt, not how the banks make money and not how it impacts us, but that's the way I look at it. And that's not an econ guy. That's, I had my,
the little wrinkle in all of that is you've actually touched on it, but I want to highlight it, folks. When people talk about the long-term debt cycle, what I don't think most people realize is most long-term debt is actually variable. The Fed's debt, generally speaking, is what they call short-term. The Fed is constantly churning their debt, right? Something that the Fed should have done February, March of 2020, and I said this, they should have issued 100-year debt because the world was scarce. The world was scared. There was all this money coming out of assets, right? The market fell 30%. That was the time to issue 100-year debt at zero, or shoot, probably could have done negative, but here we'll talk zero. Unfortunately, the Fed continued what it did. It's 90-day debt, long-term for the Fed is a year. So a lot of our debt, a lot of company debt is short or variable. That's why I personally hate all of that, because when you bring interest rate risk into your portfolio or into your business or into the government, oh my God, bad things happen when the economy shifts.
Right. That's right. There was not a ride that I enjoyed less than going through the process on my 7 refis and not locking in the very beginning. I had to ride it and it was horrible. And it was rolling, guys. It was 4.25 all the way up to 4.625, all the way down to 4 1/8. And I think I locked in. I think I was finally able to lock it like 4.25. So I didn't get it the very low, but I wasn't anywhere near the top either. And it
would have made a difference on $1 million. That's real money every month.
3 million.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And that's why and she's like, oh, well, it's only like $30-$40. And I was like, $30-$40 times 8 mortgages. And it's actually more like $90 on the high. And that's per month and times 8. And I said, so it's 8 bones a month. I said, we just kissed goodbye the, Recaro leather seats in my Lamborghini. Your case. So
I can't wait to see this car. We're gonna do a live stream from your car.
Hell yeah. Question is has anybody ever live streamed at 200 miles an hour? That's my question.
I'm sure somebody has.
Well,
and it didn't end well.
Then have to do 201. Well, I'll just lock it on the dash. Lock it on the dash. That's all. And then we'll watch my face go back like this and my beard go up in my eyes. Like all of the good fun stuff will happen. All right. Hab Abbas. If you are doing a refi after doing a hard money, it's called a rate and term refi. You might be able to find some lenders doing those after 90 days.
Yeah, because you're not taking out the repair money. That's what I said.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Theta Hedge Capital, is there a video on using binder method for Section 8? My local office won't budge. So Dion's experience was they budged. My experience was they didn't budge.
I have a binder strategy video on my channel. It's Section 8 how to. And
Perfect.
it's dependent on your county because most counties are run by a housing authority. Some counties are run by a nonprofit. And it depends on what government, I don't want to call it cog in the wheel, but it's like the person in that position. If they just go, here's my exact rules. But the way my counselor explained it to me is we can't just raise your rates. We can't do that. But if I can go to my boss with information and say, here's what the new rates should be.
Right.
And I did the work for them by sending an email with, here's the comps I'm using, the geographic location, number of bedrooms. Because remember, housing authority and those nonprofits, they don't care about garage, swimming pool, storage shed, any of the amenities. It is how many bedrooms do you have that actually qualify as a bedroom?
That's right. Which is 70 square feet, 2 forms of egress, and a certain amount of calculated cubic square footage so you can stand up straight in case you're on a roof line.
And a closet.
The closet.
And a closet. Yes, true. And heat.
Yeah, in Washington, it's heat. In some states, I'm not sure. I thought it was a source of like swamp cooler air conditioning. Don't know.
So what's also really interesting too, though, is on the closet thing. It doesn't have to be an enclosed space.
Nope.
It can be a rack on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with us here in Washington, my specific housing authority, I had to put in saloon doors. That didn't have to be enclosed. It had to have some sentence somewhere said door. So I put in a little saloon door. That's a closet.
There you go.
I love it.
Depends on your specific county.
Yes, exactly. Specific county. And to Dion's point too about the nonprofit versus authority, both towns that I work with are authorities. So they have zero play, no movement. They're just like, we can't rent it. I said, okay, fair enough. Hindman family, for those who self-manage, in quotations, sorry, Mike, do you have any attempt to hide that you're the property owner? DBA, I'm the manager, etc. If not, have you run into any problems because of that? Dion?
Sure. So it's actually a nuanced question that comes up often. There are some people who want to hide their identity and they have the LLC to specifically try to hide their name. And they say, I'm the property manager. Whatever level of comfort that you have, great. But you could get caught in a lie sometime. So what I do is, and this is me being transparent, don't sue me, bro. When I'm talking to my tenants, I'm the owner, but I have some partners that I have to run big decisions by. My partners might be Mike and Matt. I might go, hey, this tenant asked for this in between one of our videos. And I go, am I wrong for thinking that's silly? And then when they tell me, I go back and say, my partner said, no, before Mike and Matt, I had my kid's cat. If I ran the decision by my kid's cat shook its head. And I was like, yep, okay, we're not going to do that. As long as I'm not the bad guy, I have partners to blame when they have an unreasonable request. But it's pretty rare to have an actual unreasonable request. One was, please replace all of the downstairs windows with windows that open. No, I'm not doing that.
No.
You have like 4 that do, and then there's these solid like $1,700 glass pane windows. I'm not putting in opening windows there. My partners didn't agree. So then I'm not the bad guy. That's how I handle it.
Yeah, same on my side from a self-management perspective. I find that being the owner calms people down. I had somebody getting kind of mouthy, and I just said, really? I said, well, I'm happy to pass it on to the owner. So they think you're a jerk. She's like, what are you doing? I go, you just called me a jerk. She's like, oh, you're the owner? Yeah, not just a property manager. I'm here to fix your problem because you asked so nicely. And we just had the conversation. I said, listen, at the end of the day, it's your house and we want to take care of you, but please recognize you're not my only tenant and we want to take care of things on a timely basis. But there's a process to things. And as much as I'd like to believe that I have all of these people on staff working for me, none of them are. They're all 1099s. They all have their own businesses and I get preferential treatment. But when I call, I still have to wait for them to tell me they can be there X time. Just that simple. We all have to wait our turn. So that was that. Let's see. Don, my last appraiser said that some of the comps I took to the meeting, he said that they were some of the ones that he was using. Yep, exactly. Yep, bring those comps. Worst case scenario is they don't use them, but then they're going to have to justify not using them. And I would take them and I would show my bank, hey, these are comps. I provided the appraiser, FYI. You guys agree? I see shaking heads.
Yes,
So
Yep.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Josh Martin, how do you pick an inspector, or does the lender provide one? Who wants to take that one?
Again, this is depending on when you were doing this. 20 years ago, I could influence my appraiser, my inspector, all of
Oh,
that.
so wonderful.
Today, you can't. No, you can't at
It's
all.
the same in Washington. You're not allowed to pick, and you're not supposed to interact with too much.
And
It's-
again, if
it's
you have a
federal.
personal relationship, that appraiser is supposed to say no.
That's right. Conflict of interest. It's
Conflict of-
actually, yep. It's 100% a no-no.
Big no-no.
Yeah, and so whether appraiser, so he asked inspector. So inspector, if it's not appraiser, but the inspector, when they actually have going to inspect the property, A, your agent should know. B, if you are doing the work like Mike's course talks about, like we talk about in our 3 Amigos courses, you've already talked to some inspectors. That way, when you found the right property, you were able to put it in front of the right people. And 3, the only tip that I would give when selecting an inspector is try to select somebody that has been in construction in the past. I do not like the appraisers that
The
have
book
just taken
smart.
a 2-week course. Yeah, F that.
Well, the other thing about inspectors, you got to be careful with that word, right? If it's required by the lender, arm's length.
Yep.
But I don't know about you, but I bought older houses. I'm like, I better have that foundation looked at. So there are
Absolutely.
some inspections that you as the buyer, as part of your 14-day due diligence, you can absolutely use, but that report's not for the lender. It's for you, the buyer.
That's
and
right.
go nuts, pick wherever you want.
Right. Yeah. To the original question, I thought we were talking appraiser. I mean, I hired the inspector. That inspector works for me. That reports for me. And then some places you're not even allowed to share that report with the seller. But one of the reasons I'm not an agent is I don't need to know those rules. So I'll take select pieces out of that inspection with that, because the inspector is writing it to protect themselves.
Correct.
I warned you, this place looks like it's falling down because there's like a crack in the drywall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you send that verbiage to the seller as my strongest negotiating tool.
That's right.
When we're under contract, I'll send, here's what I think is going to cost about $30,000 to repair, hoping they come back with 15. And then I get $15,000 off.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Nailed it.
Exactly. Nailed it.
So let's see, Rob, Rob said on the other question about the duplex that he would remodel and owner occupy a half. Yep.
Oh, well, there you go.
As a house psychologist, I agree. Practicing house psychologist. Josh Martin, Merry Christmas. Lane, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you guys. Chester Williams, fat fire sounds like burning a tub of Crisco. I love it. Ryan Ruff, Merry Christmas. Ahab Abbas, I know I'm getting better at your name, so I'm feeling good about that. Just closed on a 3-unit house hack. Oh my word. And back on September. I listed the other 2 since October, but not finding right tenants until now. When doing my taxes in 21, can I claim vacancy loss on these 2 units?
That's not exactly how taxes work.
No,
you don't have
right.
vacancy loss. You
You have
I
lack
did
of
not make
income.
money to
You have
be-
lack of income.
Lack of income. Yeah.
Right.
It's the top line problem, not a bottom line problem.
Yeah, we don't report to the IRS. If all of my units paid, I would get X. So I actually took in that you literally just say, every penny I took in, this is how much it came to. That's the only number they know. They don't know that there was a number you could have got to.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well done. Well explained. Rebecca Marin, we are a small investor, have 2 properties, single family paid off. Excellent.
Nice.
We would like to get into commercial properties, more than 10 units. Would you recommend us to refi the paid off properties?
I'll let Mike
All right, I'll go
handle that
first.
because there's reasons why I haven't done those.
Yeah. So I'll say on the commercial, like trading up, I wouldn't be doing it now. That's my opinion. The only things that I've done in those larger units is I have gotten ridiculous deals, literally showing 30 and 40% return on capital that I put into the deal. Those are the types of commercial deals that I'm doing. And sadly, they were before Velocity Mortgage. So I am literally waiting for those 5-year 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 penalties that are on any commercial debt, where it's you basically pay 5% of the note if you refi it within the first year or take that mortgage away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally believe also that when you get into that commercial space, you are no longer a small fish in a small pond like you are on the residential side with a couple rentals. You're now small fish in a massive ocean, and people that can squash you because they can pay for cash, they can do all those things. So if you're running the numbers on that deal, I promise you, if it's been out in the market for quite some time, unless you're getting it way off, like you have to make sure you're getting a good deal, because the smart money evaluates that stuff every single day, and they've got gobs and gobs of cash. See the current or the earlier reference by Mike of 40% more cash in the market. These guys are built to do deals in cash because they don't have to worry about funding. So Mike, that's my rant. That's my take on it.
Yeah, it's well done. So I think there's a couple of things. So I get this a lot because again, I own both, right? And I've purposely got out of one into the others, much like this comment was. There's a couple of things. First and foremost, there is a very well-known social media expert out there who has a saying that bigger is better. And kind of full stop. I personally believe that bigger isn't always better. I actually believe in the same spreadsheet that I use to evaluate houses, you should evaluate multis. And if multis come out as a better option, I personally like 1031 exchanges to move up. That's what I did. I went from 8 to 80 units over about 18 months. It was awesome. But I got out of ridiculously expensive houses into cheap multifamily.
Right.
That is not the environment today. I sold some C-class apartments that needed hundreds of thousands of dollars in immediate investments at a stupid low cap rate. That stuff is still going on today.
Yeah.
I do not like buying stuff at peak prices. So what I would tell someone today is, A, do you just believe the bigger is better and that's why you want to go commercial because you want to flex and do all of that? Lots of people do, right? Grant Cardone said bigger is better, and he's the man, and he's a billionaire, and he's got a jet, an airplane, or a helicopter, or in all the cars. Bigger is not always better. It's just not. Put it in the same spreadsheet and compare. And if you get 8% on a house and 40% on an apartment, go buy the apartment. If you get 12% on a house and 4% on an apartment, buy the house. All of that. So then there's a
speak to you.
Yeah. And then, let math speak to you. Then the other thing is source of capital. You have an asset that's free and clear. You can keep it. It's producing lots of cash flow. You can refi it at an LTV of 50% and still cash flow, get cash. Or you could do a 1031 exchange, right? Again, do the math, and the math will set you free. The biggest thing that I'm concerned about is too many people simply believe bigger is better. And I've owned these, and it's just not true. It's not. You can actually overpay for an apartment building, folks. I know it's shocking, but it can happen, and it's happening today.
Yep, totally agree. Dan, any thoughts on this one?
For me, it's always lending that stops me in my tracks. I like 4 units or less, 30-year fixed rate debt.
Yep.
No loan reevaluation period.
Oh,
5, 7, 10, where you might have a bad NOI year and they go, yep, you can't refinance. So you either need to find someone else to finance with or sell it, or your interest rate's going to X,
or
Y,
you need
what.
to cut me a 6-figure check to get it back to level. Yeah, that's
Correct.
going to be, that's where all these LPs are going to get eaten for lunch.
That's right. And I think the other thing that's really important in this regard, right? Network is your net worth.
Mhm.
If you have a bunch of deals with that bank, they are likely going to work more with you, because they're not going to want to upset the apple cart on the other assets that they own.
True.
They will likely work better with you.
You'll have more leverage yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I've already got my letter drafted for 37 months from now. You know, I'm just like, I'll send it to them 37 months from now to preempt any ridiculousness.
Right. So if you have 90 or 100 units, and then you have a 12 unit or an 18 unit that you have on commercial lending, you have the bandwidth and cash flow to handle something random weird happening in 7 to 10 years. But I have 16 units.
Sure.
If I had 16, sold 8 to buy 20, and that's my big, huge thing that could completely sink me in 7 years. That is not the right thing to do.
No, Dion, you're dead on. That's exactly what Mike was saying earlier too. He said in his live stream, I can't remember which of your live streams, Mike, this morning.
The second one, that don't get wiped out from one.
Yeah, don't get wiped out from one deal. That's what scared me from commercial for so long, was because I was doing dupes, tries, and quads, and I was making great margins. But if I had to put $300,000 or $200,000 down on a big 10-unit building, I was like, that was a big number for that. Yeah, that was a pucker factor.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, yep, totally agree. Great feedback, guys. Jamil Diaz, is there a specific way to pay contractors to ensure they finish the job to your satisfaction? Yep, there is. It's called "You don't get paid until you're done," and I sign. You have to pay usually for materials. One of the things that I've done is I talk to my contractors and say, listen, I will pay you to work up the quote. but I'm not going to pay you for materials. I'm going to pay for the materials because I already have accounts with these big places. So I'll get the account. I'll sign up for the account. I'll do all the paperwork. And then you say, here's what we need. I don't need to pay you 10 points to place my order. I'll pay you the 4 hours that it's going to take. I'll pay you your rate for the 4 hours it's going to take. And because I don't want to shortchange you, but I'm going to pay for the materials. I'll make sure that they're delivered when you're telling me you're going to start. That way I control that. I control how much I paid for them. Then they're starting, and then they get progress payments. When they're halfway done, they get paid, but they were out no money. The guys I love are the contractors that tell me, well, hey, I started the project. I really need half the money up front. You don't get anything up front because I paid for the materials. You didn't work half up front. So as soon as you hit the halfway point, I pay you. The key is, again, network being your net worth, having that relationship with contractors where they know as soon as they finish halfway point or what's agreed to as halfway point or a third of the way, sometimes it's third, sometimes it's half. If it's a really big project, sometimes it's quarters, but it's talking about what that gate is. When you get to this point, I will pay. One of the reasons, and the very few reasons that I like doing construction loan deals with banks, is because they hold the purse strings. And then I just say, listen, you want that money as soon as that job's finished and inspected, because they will typically put somebody on that project that's a construction manager. That person will basically go between 5 and 6 times during the course of the project. And they will charge the bank, and the bank has already charged you for it. It's usually a $300 fee. And they will go and they will check the process. They will check and look at what's been done. And then you fill out all the paperwork, you submit to the bank, and then the bank cuts you a check saying, here you go, here's your check. You can disperse funds to your contractors. Did I miss anything, Mike?
No, I think that's it. The only other thing I would say is something I have done with my contractors that I've done multiple jobs with. Now, I do not recommend this the first time, second, or even third time you use them, but I actually have the people that did my 58 flips. I think one guy did like 38 of them, right? More than half. I paid him every Friday, but I knew what was happening every week.
Right.
Every Monday, we knew what the jobs were for Friday. The couple of times he missed, he didn't get paid. But yeah, it just, so with that one exception, I usually pay quarters. I buy material as well. I pay quarters. And I always hold the last 25% until after I've inspected it. That's the only one that they won't get paid right away.
Yep.
It's usually, I do commit to walking at 48 hours from completion, but
yes.
Yeah.
Dion?
So on my channel, I try to make a video when I get the same question 5 or 10 times. Like, okay, enough people want to know this, because there's a ton of content that I want to make that nobody cares about. So I don't want to make videos that people aren't going to watch or wouldn't want to watch if they did. So I've wanted to make one on how to deal with contractors, but I rarely get the question. I don't know why. Maybe people don't think of me as the source for that. So there's 3 things I look at with the contractor. The first is I like to get my contractors off of Thumbtack. So once you have a relationship with one, sure, you've got it worked out. But if you get them off of Thumbtack, you can find contractors, get quotes, and read reviews. You're going to get reviews from other people who've like a Yelp, but just for contractors.
Right.
And the most important thing is that contractor knows at the end of the project, you are going to leave a review.
That's right.
So I've had no bad issues with my contractors off of Thumbtack yet. The second thing is knowing that if you go to your local Lowe's or Home Depot or your local flooring store, Lowe's and Home Depot do, but most of those kind of stores will have a contractor's account where you give them your phone number and your name, you're in their system. Whatever handyman or contractor you hire can go there and buy materials. You get a phone call, and on the phone, you pay with a credit card right now. They email you a receipt. So a lot of times contractors will say, well, I need this much money to buy materials. Well, that materials might be their chop saw because it's old and they don't have one for this job. Well, I'm not buying them a chop saw in this deal, but that won't show up on my receipt. So it kind of makes sure that I'm only buying the materials for my project. And the third thing is I like to tip. If a handyman comes and does a $300 job and he says it's $300, great. Here, I Venmo $350, right? So it's going to be a tip. Anytime a project is large and I've got a time concern, I say, I tip. Every time we do anything, I put a tip on there. The tip is dependent on this date. There's no date, no tip. And if it even takes longer, then we're going to renegotiate the price. I've never had a time date problem. I've pretty much tipped on every project I've ever had a contractor do. So that is what will be in my video if I ever get the questions enough to make it.
I can tell you I've never tipped as a rule. However, when I was doing my flips, I gave them part of the profit, not a lot, but some of the profit on the back end once it was done.
Yep. So I've done Mike's. I've not done Dion's.
Yeah. So in my area, the handyman and the smaller contract, because I don't do rehabs. Like I probably would, I don't know if I would tip with like a $20,000 deal. I don't know what that would look like. What it would be an insult to give them $100, right?
Yeah.
But the guy who shows up and mounts the bathroom mirror and changes the faucet and is going to get $150, $50 is 25% tip or whatever.
Yeah.
And with those level of handymen in this area, because of the local REI meetup groups and the Facebook groups, there's a lot of competition.
Got it.
I was like, hey, I have something I get a phone call. What do you got? Let's go. I'm free this weekend. Like it's immediate. So that's what I'm working for.
There you go. All right. I like it.
Love it. Awesome. Dan Hunter, please tell me you saw the post on the Three Amigos FI page where somebody asked Mike's course for installment payments.
Did you see that? I saw the question. If you want,
I did not see
from
that.
my amazing memory. Is it possible to take the course and make installment payments?
No.
Basically, the gist of the question.
No.
So
I'm not taking installment payments. Sorry.
No.
Fair
Sorry. But the good news is when you get your money right, that's the free course.
Yeah.
When you get your money right, you'll have
Right.
it in probably 60 days.
I did not see that. No, I missed that one.
Kyle Yee, Merry Christmas to the three favorite heroes, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca. Shit. I know exactly which one I am.
Which one you are too?
I would try a Chewbacca roar, but I suck at it. And yeah, I've tried, and yeah, I know. Whatever.
So who's Luke and who's Han? I mean, that's a debatable question.
Dear God, you two.
Just not Chewbacca.
I'm a big furry animal. All right, I'm a big furry animal. All right.
I'll be what is it? Who are the characters again?
Luke and Han Solo.
I'll be Han Solo.
You don't know. That just hurts me. See, I'm
You saw
here to
Star
bridge
Trek, Star Trek
I'm here to bridge
77
gaps.
times.
This is what I do. I'm connecting worlds that don't exist with the real world. Dion over here, Mike over here.
Mike just called it Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek. Yeah,
He's still calling it Star
Wars.
Trek.
I think I may have seen it twice.
Oh, sweet Lord.
Especially since it's called Star Wars.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
sorry.
No wonder you ended up in the wrong theater. All I saw is this guy, Captain Kirk. That's all I saw. This guy Spock with the pointy ears.
Not a big. I don't get it.
Right. Eli Kolner. My tenant wants a 2-year extension 4 months into their current lease. Young family. My management messed up and signed a 1-year at COVID cap price of 4% plus CPI in August. I feel terrible. Rent needs to go up 30%.
Sounds
If
like
you're in a
state.
rent control area, that
No, I
limits your
think that
options.
it's my guess is if I had to guess what Eli's seeing there is that they probably use standard language, in their property management firm lease. And
It actually sounds like a California investor.
does it? Maybe.
Well, again, 4% plus CPI. That is California's rent control, which is 5% plus CPI.
All right.
yeah.
If it's a single family home though.
Oh yeah, single family
rent
homes
control.
not covered. Yeah, if it's a
Geez, Mike,
duplex.
managing stuff in California. I thought you might know that.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yeah,
All right.
trying to catch up.
Dan Hunter, maybe a buy now, pay later option in the future. And these are all laughy faces, by the way. So Samer Farho, the three heroes, peace signs for all of us. Dan Hunter, Dion, show your mug again. I can't stop looking at his mug. I'm teasing. I know. Dion.
It's because it's hard to see vodka through,
Dan, if you didn't tell us it was vodka, we'd all think it was water. So my only question is what the hell is that mug? Is that mug?
Yeah,
from?
is that mug from something?
It's
Is it Star Wars?
I am a pirate minister. I actually do weddings for free. It's one of the cool things about being financially free is I get to be a part of someone's special day and not charge them a penny. You have to be okay with a pirate showing up. And, pirates got to have a mug.
I'll be talking to Mrs. Lumberjack about our vow renewal.
I'll fly out there for it.
I might fly
That'd be
out
great.
there for that too.
Holy,
But it's
we're not doing a vow,
pirate
guys. We're not doing a vow.
everything.
We're
I'm
not
gonna
doing
call
a
your
vow.
wife.
No.
I know her number.
No. Well, I was gonna say at the end of the day, I closed the deal once. I need to close. I don't need to close.
You don't
the
want
deal.
to. You don't want to. Yeah, you don't ask for a question.
Yeah,
you don't want
exactly.
the answer.
Once you have the deal, you walk out the door.
Yeah, you stop talking.
Yeah, you signed. I stopped talking. All right. Merry Christmas. So Randy Whitaker, Merry Christmas. My question is foreclosure good or bad for property investment? Mike, what do you think? Good or bad for property investment? I think it depends on which side you're on.
Yeah. If you get foreclosed on, it's not good.
Yes.
You can recover from it after 3 years. If you're going to do owner occ, you'll still pay more and you'll pay more. After 7 years, 7 to 10, depending on where it is, it'll go away. So there's a lot of people that got burned in like 2010 that are coming back now. Foreclosures also hurt property around you because of comps, as we talked about earlier. That was a big problem with the last crash, is once somebody did cash for keys, all their neighbors did cash for keys because it was just cascading.
Yep.
However, foreclosures, generally speaking, well, let's talk about it this way. The first couple of foreclosures, not really great deals because a bank's going to foreclose at the amount and there's probably no equity. If foreclosures were to cascade like last time, you can get ridiculous deals.
Ridiculous.
I bought dozens of deals at or even below land value, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
But I would say, generally speaking, foreclosures are not good. They are real families hurt. People are hurt for years. Their generations hurt. I know kids today, or I shouldn't call them kids. I call them kids because they're younger than my daughter, right? I know kids in their 20s that won't buy homes because their parents lost homes when they were in 8th grade. I mean, these are generational impacts. So foreclosures, generally speaking, are a big no-no, big bad, generally speaking.
There's a couple of things to think about when it comes to foreclosures. A lot of people will say, if you're an investor and you buy a house that was foreclosed on, you're part of the system that made that person lose a house, which is not true. That'll happen years before you got there.
Yeah, I wasn't
If you find a
involved.
pre-foreclosure, you could be a part of the solution to help that person get out of
That's
that
right.
property without having to go through an entire foreclosure.
Mhm.
And if you're on the bad side of it, where you've got the foreclosure on your record, but there were actual events in your life that caused that, and you are financially stable, this is when things like creative financing and seller financing options start to look more attractive in your investing, instead of going to a traditional lender where, for like Mike said, 7 to 10 years, that stands out and is going to make you pay a lot more interest if you can even secure the loans. So it really, foreclosures, it depends on the situation.
Yeah, I agree. Chester Williams, I'm glad Dion mentioned interest spreads for banks, bringing it back to rentals. Would banks be skittish to loan out with the Fed set to hike rates throughout 2022? Guessing focusing on MQNs or MTMG.
Matt, the mortgage guy.
Yeah.
So again, banks have already started to adjust. I know lots of non-QM lenders that raised rates a quarter point the day. So the Fed announced, I think it was a Wednesday. I knew several large non-QM lenders that raised rates the following Monday. They didn't even wait, right?
Yeah.
They get ahead of it. Banks like Matt, the mortgage guy, they're much more tied to the 10-year treasury. And the weird thing is the Fed talked about raising rates and the 10-year treasury went down for a week. So again, you need to watch that. But generally speaking, bank, if it's a Matt, the mortgage guy, kind of like 10 loan things, they're going to follow the treasury plus spread. Non-QM lenders, that's real deep money. They move a lot faster.
Yep.
And to go one step deeper into something that a finance guy should cover, and I'm going to try. The bank isn't really making money on that interest rate spread.
Right.
That's how it starts. But within usually a couple of days, that bank sells that loan product to someone else.
Yeah.
Even if they keep it and you're paying Wells Fargo for your mortgage, they don't own it. They're getting a processing fee.
Mhm.
So rates might go up. It's transaction count dropping that's going to hurt the lenders.
Correct.
They're hoping for the mortgages to happen and then sell them and make that transaction fee. The more mortgages that they can carry and collect fees on, the more money they're going to make. That to them is more important than where rates are.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Jermiel Diaz, how do you do seller financing with agents involved? By the way, thank you, Dion, for sending me the seller financing letter. Mike.
All you have to do is consider that agents want to get paid.
Yep.
So realize that an agent, generally speaking, is between 3 and 6%, depending on what that is. So guess what? Your down payment needs to be at least 3 or 6%, because I have yet to meet a seller that is willing to cut a check personally to pay that. So as long as you control that and the agent goes, "Ooh, I get paid," it shouldn't matter.
Yep.
Right. So when you're looking at your down payment, one of the first things you do with seller financing is you figure out, do they have an existing mortgage? Because you're going to have to get that taken care of. Either you're going to take out a mortgage to cover that, or you're going to have a down payment large enough to cover what's remaining on their mortgage and agent fees.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like Mike said, they're not going to be cutting a check to let go of a property.
Mhm.
They're looking at getting consistent monthly income and not having a large tax impact. Right.
Yep. Amafid, the space shuttle live streams at 17,000 miles per hour. Well, then I will just have to say it's the fastest live stream on Earth.
Well, no, what I think he's telling you is you can live stream at 200 miles an hour. Have fun.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But I'm going to say it's the fastest on Earth. So I can't say it's the fastest live stream now, but I can say it's the fastest on Earth.
On the ground. Yep. Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. All right. Rob, Dion Land of 1,000 Smiles live stream. Apparently someone likes your smile.
I try to smile more once I have this because it makes me look like I'm frowning because I got the D'Artagnan look. So
I don't know who D'Artagnan is, but I guess he's on Star Trek.
Oh my God.
Mike, you should know this.
So
D'Artagnan, you should know. It's
the Three Musketeers. Like we could have went with that instead of Three Amigos.
No.
So
guys,
Alexander
remember,
Dumas wrote books like The Count of Monte Cristo, which is the best movie ever made on the planet,
Never
very good.
The Three Musketeers, The Man in the Iron Mask, and there's D'Artagnan. So
okay.
now you know.
Guy Pearce, Jim Caviezel, spectacular.
Yes. That's actually my favorite movie because, and here's some behind the scenes secret info on how twisted I am. It's a movie where you get so rich, you can dedicate your life to getting revenge on the people who screwed you over.
Oh, what's the name of that movie again?
Count
of Monte Cristo.
All right, I'll look it up.
But the newer version, not the original.
Right. Yeah, it came out like, we call it the newer version, but it's probably 15 years old now.
It is. Yeah.
So sometime in the 2000s.
Yeah, it's got Guy Pearce and Jim Caviezel in it.
I'll look it up. I've never seen it. Not even sure.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
D and I will pull our money and buy the DVD because I know you're a DVD player.
I don't have a DVD player.
Seriously?
Nope.
Wow, look at you streaming.
I don't either. And somebody just gave me, because I talk about audiobooks all the time, they just gave me a bunch of audiobooks on CD. And I'm like, what's this? It's like an 8-track now.
Yeah, it so is. Question for Dion. Is the cat available for consultations from Rob?
That's awesome.
Yes, but if you've watched my videos, you know that cat is a biter. I picked the cat up for an outro one time and it chomped onto my cheek and I bled. That's not in the video. The bite is though.
Yeah. But,
oh my God.
Chris Webb, just checking in from Central Virginia. Thanks for all you guys do. 1,000,000%. You're welcome. Jerry Davis. Good morning, amigos. Good morning. Brett Denner. I'd love to hear about what you guys do for preventative maintenance to proactively prevent expensive issues, repairs from coming up on properties you are actively renting. Brett, that's a great question, Brett. Dion, what do you think?
I expect expensive repairs. I look forward to them because when I replace a roof or replace a water heater, I'm protecting an asset. And as a new investor, we usually get stuck in this mindset of, wow, that roof is $15,000. That's so much money. When you're first starting out, expenses like that are part of your cost to acquire. You're spending the money to acquire the asset. Once you own it, we calculate the numbers. You have principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, but you set aside money for repairs and maintenance. So over a period of months and years, you are setting aside, I do 10% of gross rents into an account. That account pays for those big expenses when they come. I don't care that I have a $15,000 roof expense because it comes out of that account that the tenants have been filling. And when I spend because I'm not investing it, but when I spend that money to replace the roof or do the repair, the rents refill that account. It does not impact cash flow. Cash flow is not touched by things that happen when something goes wrong on a property. As long as you have the discipline to continue to keep that account full. Once that account is full, I set aside $30,000 with 16 units. It might be bigger as the portfolio grows. And if I ever stop having a W-2, I might grow that account as well. But at 30,000, when that money comes down, gross rents fill it back up. When it's capped off, that extra money that would be set aside for repairs and maintenance doesn't come to me for spending on life. Sorry, I got the mic on today. It doesn't come to me for spending on life. It goes into the investing fund and speeds up when I can make my next investment. So when I do have an expense, the biggest impact it could possibly have on me is it slows down investing a little, doesn't impact lifestyle.
Mike?
All of that's true. The only other thing I would do, because again, I don't self-manage. So all my units get a walkthrough every 6 months looking for little things. And then the other thing I would tell you that I did wrong for the first 4 or 5 years is I was cheap and I was band-aiding things. When you get one roof leak, unless there's like a real reason for it, replace the roof, right? Because I don't know how many times I band-aided a roof and then it ultimately became worse and worse and worse. And I spent twice as much.
One of the things that I recommend doing when I acquire a building, because they're older here in the Northeast, is I will actually pay a plumber, usually for when we go in after we've acquired the building, go in, take a look, take a walkthrough, make sure he's looking at the chamber and the furnace and doing things like that. those are big, expensive repairs, and that thing's going to go when it's being used. When is the heating being used? In the wintertime.
Yep.
I don't want to deal with the ridiculousness of having to replace a system during the winter because that sucks. And the second thing that, believe it or not, I'm shocked that people don't do this. Up here in the Northeast, almost all the time when copper was installed, that copper might be 50 years old, 60 years old, 40 years old, and they have these star off and ons. They have these star valves.
Mm-hmm.
You turn them on, you turn them off, and that's what saves you. No one ever tests them. No one ever knows that they don't work, and they don't work. And when you find out that they don't work, it's because something is spraying water everywhere. That's when you find out they don't work.
Test those.
So
yeah.
we eliminate those star valves in a number of our properties. We literally just play the plumber and say, listen, go in there and all the star valves in the basement, solder them off. There's a special tool that gets made that actually has a coupling connection on it. They can get through that in a half a day and put all new ball valves there. Now, every shut off works, every turn on valve, every valve then works. Nice. If you ever have an issue, we actually, when we introduce a tenant to an apartment, we say, hey, if you ever have a water problem, it's spraying all over the place and I don't know what to do, run your ass down to the basement and shut this valve off. That's all you have to do. And I will be elated because the damage will be relegated to literally a minute. So that's all you have to do. Just show people where the shut off switch is, or the shut off valve is for the water.
That's funny that you say that. I just did that at a friend's house, trying to help out because I'm so handy, which I'm not. Don't ever have me help you do anything.
Like making me.
I went to replace a faucet.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you go under the sink and you think, okay, hot and cold water, I can turn them off. Well, it came off in my hand.
Yeah.
Oh!
So,
star valve.
Luckily, it was the hot water. So I
Yep.
run downstairs, turn off the valve on top of the hot water heater, which was a star valve. So luckily, it didn't break.
Yep.
But it was about a minute's worth. And then I just said, look, I'm going to hire a plumber. We're going to replace all of these. We did both bathrooms and the sink and the kitchen. And I just had to put in new valves for all of those because they were the original old star valves. And I thought, put in new ball valves. And I paid for all of that because it was my water damage that I spent the day cleaning up after.
Yeah.
Good times.
And literally the ball valves are like $8 and a plumber's 100 and something an hour.
It wasn't much money, but yeah.
Not much at all. But it makes the world of difference because I can promise you the other thing too is a vacant unit where another tenant says, I've got water dripping in my ceiling from a vacant unit or something upstairs. And it's like, okay, cool. I can get there super fast. Here's the code. Here's a contractor code to the door. Run in there, flip that valve. You know exactly where it is. It's just worth its weight in gold and not very expensive. So great question, Brett. Jerry Davis, Chris Webb, Central Virginia here too. Just them connecting where they're at. Nohia Kyle Yee scenario. Okay, guys, get your pens ready. Scenario San Diego threeplex. It's a threeplex. It's a 3-2 and 2-2-1s with a 2-car garage. Current yield is what? Negative 163%. Negative with asking price with what current rents. Vacant 1650 and 1550. Rent average is 3,000, 2,500, and 2,500. Low end. All units need lipstick job to get rents up and existing tenants out, or the binder strategy to get the rents up. I will need to cover the loss for at least 6 months of low rents and cost of repairs, lipstick work with no guarantee I will be able to get the existing tenants out and get the market value. But if I am able to do it, my yield jumps to 48% at the low end. Do you guys think it's worth the risk?
So there's a lot in that.
That's a lot.
Because you're in California. So first and foremost, you can't do the binder strategy on these tenants.
Right.
Rent control will not let you. They're existing tenants. Rent caps will make that a big no-no because it's not a house. So the second thing is you can remove them because it sounds like you're going to do a full remodel. That is one of the reasons as an owner you can remove tenants. Realize you will have to pay them to leave, probably pay their moving expense. That's again, you get to thank Gavin Newsom. So add that to your costs. If this was me, I would, God, this, you sound like such a dick when you say these things. I would give the tenants notice.
Job.
Yeah, it's your job. Exactly. So what I would do is I would give these tenants notice day one. Again, if it was me, I would say, hey, I'm going to remodel the unit. I will gladly give you back your full deposit. No questions asked. I will pay you your, because in California, what you have to do is you have to pay them up to their, like if it's, what did she say? 1,500? or yeah, 1550. I'll pay 1550 of moving expenses. I think it's 60 days, assuming they've been there a year. I just wouldn't mess around. You can't use the binder strategy in California with that big of a difference. Then you have to be able to carry it vacant for 6 months. Also, I don't know where this is in San Diego.
Oh yeah.
Right. In San Diego,
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of San Diego is nice, but there's probably areas in San Diego that aren't nice. You're going to have an asset that's vacant that can invite its own troubles sometimes. I don't know San Diego at all, but yeah, I don't think you have any hope of keeping the existing tenants. I don't think.
So one of the problems with rent control is it forces the owner to go up the maximum allowable amount every month. And if they don't, then we run into a situation where you have a property like this that doesn't cash flow and can't sell for what comps are selling for if they're vacant, because you can't use the binder strategy. You can't adjust rents enough to make it make sense.
Yeah.
So a full tenant flip on each unit is going to be basically a requirement.
Absolutely.
How long are they going to go without paying? How much is it going to cost you to move them out? Add all of that together, and that aggregate cost goes into your cost to acquire.
Correct.
And remember, your yield is when the units are rented out for that first year. How much did it cost you to acquire the property? What will your rental profit be? Divide your rental profit from the year by your cost to acquire. If it doesn't make sense, the deal doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Don't beat it up. Don't beat up your
chase
Excel.
the numbers, right?
Yeah. Don't chase the numbers. Beat up Excel. Yeah. I don't know enough about this, but again, I have a lot of experience. I can carry a building empty for months.
Yep.
I can pay security to go by 6 times a day. I've done that.
Yep.
If the return was, certainly if it was 48%, even if it's 28%, I would do the deal. But again, that's a guy who's got several hundred units and can carry a building empty for a year without problems. This does scream lots of risks, lots of unknowns. That'd be a tough first pill to swallow, I think, for lots of people.
And even though you're in the right with a remodel, you can say the tenant needs to move out. Factor in the cost of a 3-month eviction.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that could be, to even make it legally right.
Dude, California might be 6 months.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you can hold, right?
Yeah.
If you can hold. I mean,
that's probably why you're getting a discount. That's what
exactly.
You're getting a discount
but the discount is not out of alignment with what it should be based on what you're expecting to have to do. Right.
That sounds like a lot of work, a lot of stress.
Yep.
If you're a first-time investor, this is your
do
first.
Do not do this deal.
Probably
do not
not
do this deal if you're a first timer.
Because you're gonna eat yourself alive.
Yep.
Just with stress.
And there will be delays in getting them out. There will be people that are problems. And the issue is that they hire a lawyer. You have to hire a lawyer to protect yourself. And it's not whether or not they win. It's just the fact that they're suing.
Delay. Yeah.
Exactly. Delays and a pain in the ass for sure. Cool. All right. WS, need to get some sleep right here. You guys talk together. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas to you.
Well, the good news is he didn't fall asleep on our live stream. So that's a good thing. Nisi Ellison, what would cause deflation and how would it affect housing loans? Michael,
So deflation. So there's really 2 types of deflation we need to talk about because it's quoted a lot in YouTube University. There's asset deflation, housing, stocks, crypto. And then there's lifestyle deflation, right? We've had 8% inflation in rents and gas and all of that. We've already seen some deflation in gas, for example. All right. So there's really 2 sides of deflation. Asset deflation, I'm afraid it's going to happen, right? But most specifically in places that have lots of leverage, stock market, crypto, multifamily, right? There's a lot of places where I think the debt structure doesn't marry up with an inflationary environment. And when you have to refi the debt, you get in big trouble. Residential, probably going to be fine. As long as we still have 98.5% fixed rate debt, it's not going to be a problem. But yeah, deflation. And let's be clear. You think the Fed is afraid of inflation? The Fed is terrified of deflation. Yeah. The Fed knows how to beat inflation. Paul Volcker proved it works.
Yep.
Deflation, they just got a money printer and they just that only works for so long. So there's somebody out there named Kathy Wood who her whole thesis for Art K is deflation is coming and inflation's not a problem. I think she is greatly misguided. She's very cute that she can say, I have a 5-year time horizon and eventually technology will play out. Most individual investors will not hold for years of losses and sell at the bottom.
Yep.
So yeah, deflation will come from technology. Yeah. Computers cost less. Yeah. Printers cost less. Cell phones cost less. But yeah, generally speaking, when you add 40% of dollars, you don't get a lot of deflation. So I don't know. It depends on which deflation you're talking about. I do think we're going to have some deflation next year because of the ports, all the ports. This is what's happening today. To the parents out there, what did you hear? For 60 days, you heard you can't buy Christmas presents because the stores were empty. That's what you heard. So what did you do? You rushed out and bought presents that were not on sale. You paid full retail and you were happy to do it. What is also happening? Retailers are afraid their shelves are going to be empty. So they are double and triple ordering, which is causing the ports to be even a bigger problem. The supply chain will eventually work out. Will it be March? Will it be June? Will it be December? Who cares? It will eventually work out. And then these shelves will be stuffed and they'll have no warehouse space and you will see sales like you've never seen before sometime next year. I'm guessing the summer. I meant when I said last month that we should move Christmas from December to July, because I don't know about you, but I don't watch a lot of TV, but I didn't see any ads for Black Friday sales. I didn't see doorbusters. I didn't see ads on my social media feed about, some big ass screen TV. It's because they didn't have to.
They were like, yeah.
They're like, hey, I got no inventory, pay full boat. So again, we will have some deflation next year when, oh my God, the Gap ordered 3 times as many sweaters and you don't need sweaters in July. I ordered them for December. They didn't show up till July, but they're here now. I guess I got to put them on sale. So we're going to see this. It's going to be very messy next year. I don't have I'm not really happy about next year.
Big time whipsaw effect.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just crazy.
The biggest problem I see coming for deflation is lifestyle deflation. Not so much things we spend on like housing and transportation, but I mean, and I get that everybody over 30 doesn't understand what an impact the metaverse is going to have. There are companies who will have employees wearing VR headsets. We're not going to have the commute problem. We're having people buying real estate in a metaverse that doesn't exist, that is completely online. It isn't going to happen in the next 2 years. But over the next several years, when the tech catches up with the way that we can use products like that, I think that's when we're going to see an actual shift in how much money a person spends in their life. That can cause deflation, but it's years out, but not a lot of years out. I'd say 2 to 5 is when we're going to start to see the impact.
Yep. I think that's something that definitely will start to impact. I started to do some research to buy some land in the metaverse.
Oh my goodness.
I had to at least understand what it was. I couldn't sit there and watch Reventure videos all day long.
I did the math the other day because I was thinking of making a video for the ultimate nerds out there.
Yeah.
And I've made about $81,000 off of selling things in video games over the last 15 years, aggregate all the way through.
That's awesome.
That's money that exists because of things that are online that aren't real, that don't exist.
True story.
And it's
$81,000.
Yeah, it was a lot when I started doing the math. I mean, there was one time where I basically sold everything because I had found out that just before the divorce, my ex stopped paying all of the bills for 3 months. And so all of a sudden, oversharing.
She was a treasure.
Tried to kill me, went to jail. So when she was in jail, I had to catch up on all the bills.
She tried to kill. God.
So I sold everything in that game.
Winner!
And that one transaction of selling everything in that game was almost $9,000.
Wow.
So these become
People
real numbers.
buy
And there are
this
people
stuff?
that are living that way
Wow.
now. And that was years ago when it
That
was
was a long time ago.
Yeah, it wasn't even starting to be a thing yet. And with somebody as big as Facebook getting behind this,
Yes.
I think it's going to be a bigger impact than people are thinking.
I think it definitely gets there. It's just gonna be a matter of time. And I've still got my baseball cards. So yeah. And football and basketball. I have them all. Love it. Rebecca Marin, thanks so much. My goal is financial freedom. She was one who asked about the 10-unit commercial property.
Awesome.
Eli Kolner reiterates just what was said earlier about the lease being current or COVID rules. And then Death Angel PR2, is the Veterans Code still available for the course, Michael?
I believe Yeah. So yeah, you go ahead and use June 50, save $50. Go for it.
Cool. Eli Kolner, California or at least San Diego County capped rent increases for everybody up until September 2021, as far as I understand. My management should have converted tenants to month in August, then 1 year later. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Okay.
like I was saying, that the property management firm made a mistake on that. Yeah, that's, oh yeah. I've had that happen where I rent my stuff out very, very, very rarely through a property management company. It's usually only when it's like what we're going through now, and did not particularly enjoy the process. And they were extremely highly recommended from a number of other landlords. And I was just like, wow, now I know why I beat you guys on all those deals, because you're bad at this too. Because they're the only ones that could actually sit there and go, yeah, they did a great job. Nah. Larry Chong, what's the best way to evaluate the refinance component of a bird deal that you're considering to buy? Michael, what do you think about that?
I think I've heard so many people do it badly.
Agreed. Yeah.
I would tell you to take whatever number you think it's going to be and subtract 15%.
Yep. Fair.
Most people are too aggressive. They think they're doing it right, but they're going to do something extra special and blah, 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 blah. Whack it 15%. And then hopefully you're positively surprised.
I agree with that. Yep. No, they sell first. I am scouting around for non-QM lenders for my next few acquisitions. Is it better to go non-QM and save your last two conventional loans for a higher rate environment and for lower down payment options? So I get what he's saying there.
Yeah,
right?
I do too. Yeah.
Go
ahead. You first.
So yeah, I mean, I think that it really depends on the asset for me. Because if I've got a commercial deal, like I want non-QM all day long now. Like I mean, I had to break the news to the banker. I was just like, I love you. You're the best. But how can I go with a non-fixed rate debt, even if it's 3.75, when I can get fixed at 4 or 4 to 8?
Yeah.
And I'm 30 years fixed and I can sleep at night every night, because 5 years from now, I personally think rates are in the 6s.
Yeah, me too.
That's me.
Yeah. What I would tell somebody in this situation is don't overthink it. If I had two residential loans left, I'd get 2 residential loans, because you don't want to overthink it. Because what happens if 6 months from now, they don't have 10, they have 4 again? I've been in that environment.
That's right.
Go get those last 2.
That's right.
Don't save them for later because of this. Don't play chess when the other person's not playing chess. They might be playing hopscotch.
Yeah.
Go get the 2 loans. I mean, I wouldn't, sometimes we overthink ourselves again. And I've seen an environment where you can get unlimited residential loans, go to 4, go to 10. Who says it doesn't go back to 4? I don't know.
Yep. That is what happened. For those of you who don't know exactly what Mike's referring to, in 2008, they instantly took the number of loans that banks could do for you and then sell to Fannie and Freddie. They instantly knocked that number from 10 assets down to 4. And that left a guy like me who had 5 completely screwed. And overnight screwed. I was like, I've got 5 left. This is awesome. Like I was still shopping, and then done. And I was like, okay, I better have another way to get these financed. Dan, any thoughts on that?
No, I feel exactly the same. I was kind of in that boat when I first started. 4 was the limit. So I got to 4. It was still the limit. I focused and paid one off.
Yep.
So I have a single family paid off property. And then it went up to 10 and rates dropped. And so my brain said, get to 10. Get to 10 while it's an option.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, that's well done. I know they sell first. What do you do after your market has slowly changed to a 0% yield event? Mine in the Sun Belt is definitely trending there.
Change investing strategy.
Look at
some
different
asset
assets.
classes still yielding there.
Yeah. Again, I've been in Fresno for 21 years and I've just had to bounce around different assets.
Yep. Different assets, classes. Beverly Ho, when you get an inspection report back and discover there's work to be done, Beverly, there will always be work to be done.
Inspection reports are meant to scare you.
They're meant to scare you. And to try and make sure that the inspector has zero liability.
Right.
That's what they're there for. So there will always be work needing to be done. So what's your strategy in approaching sellers? What percentage of the cost do you aim to have covered by the seller? Thanks. So real quickly for me, I did this on a number of inspection reports in the last 60 days. Certain things were no brainers where I was like, yeah, you're going to have to pay for that because anybody else on the list is going to ask for that. Other stuff, if it's small, I don't bother. I look at the big stuff like a roof. If I know a roof is garbage or something along those lines, I also take into account what else is going on in the deal. One of those deals had 9 other investors offering on it. Guess how much I asked for? 0, because I wanted the deal. At the end of the day, I put a number forward knowing that I'm going to pay for all that stuff because I wanted the deal. Mike, I see you shaking your head. Yes.
I think there's a lot in that. Again, I've been doing this a long time as you have. You got to remember where you are in the market. When it's a seller's market like it is today and there's no inventory, most of the time you're adding it to your make ready cost. It's in the spreadsheet for a reason. That said, anything that's health and safety, I will ask the seller. If the seller didn't disclose it, like for example, if the seller in the listing says, we know the roof is bad, I can't ask for that, right? I need to budget a new roof. But sometimes, for example, in that example, they did not say it was. They said the roof was fine. And then my report comes back and says it needs to be replaced. There's holes and it's 3 layers deep and it's got to go. We're going to have a conversation, right? That's a capital expense that your listing did not tell me about. But then again, if there's little things like subterranean termites, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that's a joke and a half in California. But if it's a buyer's market, and again, I've been doing this long enough where it is a buyer's market. I've taken my entire inspection report and said, hey, I guess I'm getting a $9,000 credit full boat, or I'm not buying yours. I'll buy somebody else's. I've been in both sides.
Dion?
So I look at it as your strongest negotiating tool.
Agreed.
I've seen some inspection reports that are written differently, but the companies that I've used, it generally starts with a picture and description of your property, and then red text saying, these are the things that really need to be taken care of. And then it breaks down top to bottom, inside out, and all that kind of stuff. I'll usually go to those red items and figure out the things that sound expensive. I made my offer knowing I'm probably going to be spending money to fix this place up. And unless it's something like all of the copper tubing has been stolen.
Yeah.
And you just didn't know that before you get there. Something weird one-off that I've never actually seen.
I've seen that, by the way.
Me too.
Yep. I'll take that. And then I'll say, well, we've seen it on a campus for our truck driving school. That's why I kind of know that that's a thing. It was an outbuilding where we go up and we show a water heater, all the pipes, all the electric was gone. I mean, they cleaned it out, but not in residential. So I'll take all of that red text and some pictures and send it to the seller with a huge estimate, $20,000 or $30,000 that I think that this would take to repair. And there's probably $2,000 or $3,000 worth of work. Knowing that people meet in the middle. Almost every time so far, they've come back with right in the middle, 15,000 or 10,000 or whatever I've offered right in the middle. And I take that off the price. I don't do it as a credit. I just take it off the actual price, purchase price.
Yep.
So if they came back and said no, then I'm in Matt's position where I still have the ability to go, okay, asking price stays and we continue with the deal. Hasn't happened yet. So far, every time, and this is not just mine, this is deals I've done with other investors. They've come back and usually met right in the middle. And so be careful with your area, though. Some places don't let you communicate with the seller that way and don't let you send parts of the inspection report. And especially if you're an agent, then if you are an agent on the side as a side hustle, you're held to all kinds of rules that investors don't have to even know.
Okay. Well done. Know thyself first. I just did a burr and it doesn't look great because of the refi. Exactly why I hate burr right now. Do not like burr deals right now. I don't like them at all. They make me extremely nervous. I've seen far too many appraisers mail it in recent months on these deals. Mike, you look like you want to say something.
I believe burr is an advanced strategy that a lot of unscrupulous people are pitching as the cheat code to wealth, zero down. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've seen more people get burned by burr than actually win.
It's a lot harder than you think. Go ahead, Dion.
That came up in Facebook this morning. I was explaining the binder strategy and they said, well, if you're not doing a rehab, how do you do the burr method? And there was nowhere in the conversation at all. And that I know that person's mindset is the only way to invest in real estate is the burr strategy. And then I went into a little detail of how much a burr usually cash flows and how I'm cash flowing an average of almost 600 a unit now without doing rehabs, where the burr's goal is 1 to 200 when you pull your money out based on most people's metrics. And then Mike's right. It's an advanced strategy. When you're first starting out and you have to learn all of the basics of find a tenant, screen a tenant, get a lease. All how there's a refi,
Repair costs,
repair costs,
Repair costs is
Timeline.
timeline for repairs,
Yeah.
all of those things that you could
carrying
drop the ball
costs.
on. Carry
Oh.
costs, your burn rate.
Supply chain.
Once
Supply
you
chain,
have, yeah, right, like last year,
Windows.
everything tripled in price. Once you have a few rentals and you have the basics down and you have some cash flow to handle some mistakes, then is when the burr strategy makes more sense. I've been investing 10 years, still haven't done one. I have a search out for properties that would make sense to do a burr with, but every time I save the down payment, I usually find a small multifamily that will get me the yield with a lot less risk and a lot less work.
Yeah. Cool. All right. We're going to do some rapid fire on some of these questions to make sure that, that
I got to
people
drop
get-
at 11.
Okay. Yep. Oh yeah. We'll drop before them for sure. All right, guys. So rapid fire, we'll keep our answers to 20 seconds or less.
Okay.
Julie Anderson, with population leaving, I would not buy in California. I think California will always be okay. Unless it's like
California is a very large state, right? I wouldn't buy in San
Markets.
Francisco. Fresno's, I like Fresno. Fresno's great.
A lot of people say that about California. Either it's too high a cost or population is leaving. There's a huge difference in the price of property in Los Angeles County and Kern County.
Correct.
Yes.
So it's a huge state and population is only one factor.
Mhm.
Do you have economic drivers in the area that you're looking at?
Yep. Well said. Eli Kolner, San Diego is brutal. We're elite bag holders out here. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't know the San Diego market. Brett Denner, question for Mike. These live streams are my favorite thing and extremely helpful. What's the chance we can get some of the other experts to hop on them with you?
I would have to learn how to do them because I'm a participant, not a doer here. And I don't know. No idea.
I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to host those for you, Mike.
Thanks.
I bet.
And read the questions. That's where that Mike's going to blow up. He's gotten that big now. He's going to have a proctor on here. It's perfect. The Riley AOK morning. How long does it take you guys on average to find a tenant about to make an offer and we are going to turn our primary into a rental? Mike?
If it's a single family home, which it sounds like this is, just wild less guess. If you don't have a tenant in place in 2 weeks, you got a problem.
Yep. Dion?
I
And that's a
maintain a list of
qualified
people.
tenant.
Yes.
I maintain a list of people waiting for a place to open. My longest vacancy was 4 days, and that's because I needed those 4 days to get it ready for the next person.
Yeah.
My friend who just closed on a duplex advertised multiple applicants within 2 hours on just using apartments.com, and a third of them are qualified. So
Yeah.
it's fast in this market for the last 5 years at least.
Yeah, my market's the same. It's whenever I put something up, I have 30 people that see it, 8 that qualify, and then I pick the person. I throw people off the island one at a time. Death Angel PR2, how long I have to wait to make a 1031? Duplex gained 200K in value, finished building it in August. If I can make a 1031, should I pull the trigger on a fourplex?
Pretty sure it has to be capital gains money that you're moving, and it doesn't hit capital gains till you've owned the asset for a year. And it has to have rental income. So if you're doing a flip and it takes more than a year, but you never collected a penny in rent, that's still income.
It's income. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Nohia Kyle Yee, you guys are amazing. That's what we were thinking. Just so Mike knows, they were going to be owner occupied on each remodel. Cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
And have tenants in there during this time, so there would be no vacancies, and it was in a good neighborhood.
Oh,
Nice.
cool. There you go. All right.
Death Angel PR2. What you guys think it's going to happen with all the virus thing and the mess with the economy? How can first-time home buyers deal with a crash? See video from yesterday.
I do not see a
Yeah.
crash. So
No, we still don't see a crash. I mean, for those of you who are watching, we still don't see a crash. Crashes, and just to know, crashes are, in my eyes, I think in the other guy's eyes too, it's above 20%.
yeah, 20%.
And a 20% correction in any sort of a time period, you'll see slowdowns, you'll see transactions dry up, you'll see a 20% drop in transactions,
For sure.
but you won't see a 20, and you might even see a 50% drop in transactions over a month or two period if they get crazy with rates, but you're not going to see the values crash. You
There's a
won't.
very big difference, transactions versus value.
Because that's still that crash is still more inventory driven. Brett Denner,
Before we get out of here for this
Yeah,
live stream, I would like
please.
to give away a set of the books from
Oh,
Michael
okay.
Zuber, the autographed books. And I'm
All right.
going to say it so we can get in the chat before we close out. The first person in the chat to name this ship, not the class of ship, but the name of this ship, will get a copy of Michael Zuber's One Rental at a Time book and his book, 15 Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires, a signed set.
That's a ship.
It's a ship.
It looked like a dinosaur.
Michael loses. You're not getting your books.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, we will never run into Mike at Comic-Con.
No.
What is that?
Give up. The same chances we'll get Dion to an NBA All-Star game.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got season tickets, Dion. I'll take it.
yeah, exactly. All right.
Pretty sure I actually think that's baseball. No, basketball.
Basketball. Yeah.
NBA. See, I knew that.
So
Never watched the game.
Brett Denner, I sold my League of Legends account that was Mad EIN beta for nearly $6,000. Yep.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. Oh, crap. There we go. I just rolled.
I love Julie's comment. The next one. Oh no.
I missed it. What?
No, you'll see it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I was reading.
No,
ahead.
Michael reading ahead. Let's see. You guys are amazing. Probably just saved us a major headache. Great advice. We don't know what we would have done without you guys. Happy to do it. Can we please screen any future friends or wives of Dion?
That's the one that made me laugh.
Dion, we're gonna do we'll do a dating session much like this. I'll take care of the tech. We'll do a dating session much like this. We'll leave their screen blank because that way you can't know who they are. We'll do a bachelor thing for you.
I'm financially independent. I don't know if I'm financially free enough to be able to afford to go on a date yet. Still working on that.
Hey, you know what? Needs versus wants, my man. Right there. Needs versus wants. Death Angel PR2 PS. Love this group. You're very welcome. We appreciate that. Dion, I want to see a live of you playing World of Warcraft. See, I was wondering what WoW was. I knew it. Mike didn't know what WoW was.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, I'm not a gamer. I don't play any games, but I know what they are.
I would have never gotten there. World of Warcraft.
It was
never.
it was a side hustle for me, and it was how I taught my kids how to type, because it was a game that came out before you had voice chat. So to interact in the game, they had to type to people. So my kids were my employees because I sold the stuff that they got in the game.
Wow.
That they got to play a game.
Yes.
There we go.
Chester Williams laughing at Julie Anderson. That was a good joke. Nohia Kyle Yee, Lumberjack, are you still on track for your course next year? Yes, I am. We've kind of outlined everything, kind of put everything together. Honestly, and I can say this in front of these guys because I think the big thing for me is what Mike's done in his course. I can't improve on. it. There's the core of what's there. I can't improve on. It's exactly, he put words to my music that I lived for years. He lived it too. So there's no point in me covering buy boxes and things like that. The things where I can kind of pick up the gap on is all the hands-on landlording that I did and all the self-management and the repair type of stuff I look at. That's where I think I can help people out the most, because I've done it all and now I hire it all out. And now I know when I go through a house, I have a punch list of making it lumberjackified. And so that's where we're going to try and help people. So certainly we'll have cheat code to wealth in there, but there's going to be a lot more to it on the self-management and actually on the repair side and then on the rehab side. Because at that point, I know product cold. And I've set up a lot of people with that contact at American Flooring. By the way, guys, I'm a full-time eater of my own dog food. I just placed a $15,000 order for more flooring. So, and these guys are coming together. They're running low on supply because supply chain, but yeah, we are still on track, and that's what my focus is going to be. Because like I said, but you know what, honestly, we're going to refer to Mike's course a lot because buy box is so important and yield or return on capital is so important. So we're going to refer to that. So don't bother waiting for mine. Buy Mike's. Mine will build on top of that to take you kind of that next level if you decide you want self-management and doing a lot of things that Dion and I do kind of on the reg. And tenant selection and all that other good, fun, happy stuff. And how you have uncomfortable conversations with tenants. I'm really good at that. I just hope, so we'll only be able to sell that because I can't put that live on YouTube. John Williams, if you three are the three amigos of FI, is Reventure El Guapo? I mean, I suppose. Well done, John Williams. Brett Denner. So there's a startup named Nomad that has been poaching me. The core of their business is guaranteeing long-term tenants. They pay you out of their pocket and charge the tenant. Take a 4% cut. Thoughts?
Are they managing the tenant or are they just placing the tenant?
They find the place. So they find and place the tenant. Include in the deal is a 10K warranty for any damages the tenant causes.
So they're just placing.
Yeah. They're going to be out of business soon.
Yeah.
Hate
Finding-
the model.
Yeah. Sounds
Risky.
pretty easy.
It might be the one thing that some investors struggle with is finding a tenant.
Maybe.
Managing a tenant, maybe not be the hard. Maybe they might have a business model that would work. I don't know any investors myself who would go for it, but we've had the question where it comes up often. How do you find a tenant? How do you screen a tenant? So there's a service that they could provide.
Maybe
they'd have to do the math on whether it made sense for them to do it or not. I don't know that I would use that service because you have to screen out tenants. You don't have to hunt to find a tenant.
Right. Honestly, the easiest thing you can do to get somewhere near market rents, call your housing authorities. They have lists of people, lists, right now, just between the two housing authorities and the COVID assistance program, they need 160 units. That means if I had 160 units in 2 weeks, I could fill them all with guaranteed government money, guaranteed. So yeah, be looking at the right programs. I think that they're definitely, there's also companies out there that will give you the down payment for your home and they want a piece of the equity when you go to sell.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is going to be very interesting to see what happens because I personally think that depending on how they can call that money out, I think you might have a problem. Because I don't see values going up forever. And any business that's built around house appreciation, see Zillow. Let me know how that went for them. Matthew Diono, I think. I thought you can't do non-QM before conventional because conventional has a limit of 10 mortgage properties. So they would count the non-QM properties against the 10 limit. I did conventional first. No, they're two completely separate entities. Non-QM is not selling your stuff to Fannie Freddie. They're selling it probably to an insurance company in all likelihood. And any of the under 10s are always going to be GSE'd, government sponsored entities by Fannie and Freddie.
Right. And it's a limit of 10 of those backed mortgages.
Correct.
If you have four of those and 4 that are non-QM, you have a total of 4 of your 10 used. They don't go together.
Yep. And Know Thyself First answered that as well. Chester Williams, the first time I've heard Mike refer to himself as a spectator. We should challenge Michael to try and host the next 3 Amigos FI live stream.
No,
not
going to happen.
No,
I'm very comfortable saying no.
I know what it took to do this. There's no way Mike's doing it.
No chance.
It's below his pay grade.
Yes, not interested.
Let the 9th grade dropout take care of the tech. Unreal. It's awesome. All right. Let's see. John Williams, Serenity. Chester Williams, Serenity. So that's a game, right?
So,
no, that's the ship.
That's the ship. So Mike, that's the winner of the name. He named the ship. That's the name of the
John
ship.
Williams. Yep.
So yeah. John Williams, instant message Mike or get a hold of him through his email and let him know your address. You have the books coming.
So that was the correct answer.
Correct.
What movie is that from?
So there's a TV series called Firefly.
Oh,
most people call that the Firefly ship.
Oh,
but the name of the ship was Serenity.
Okay. So it's a spaceship, not
correct.
An airplane or something.
It's cowboys in space.
It's a boat, Mike.
So I didn't know it looked like a dinosaur.
That's actually a Yahtzee container, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. All right, Serenity. Okay. All right, John, DM me your address. We'll get you.
Yeah, John Williams, DM Mike. Eli Colner, Shiny. Yep. Matthew D. Iono, Razor Crest. Those are all games, right? That's a game, right? Dion?
I've never heard of the Razor Crest, so now my nerd failed here.
Oh, that is tough. That's like stumping.
That's tough to do.
Back. Yeah. Before passing, not after. Journiel Diaz, thank you for spending your time with us. What are you all doing for the holidays? Michael, what are you doing for the holidays?
My daughter's in town, so it's about spoiling her and Olivia.
That sounds awesome. Dion?
I am picking my son and daughter-in-law up at the airport and then doing a dinner at home.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I will be
Well, you actually have Santa Claus coming. So you doing the whole milk and cookies tonight?
let me help you out. Ho ho ho. Yeah, there's no
I got the color. I just need to put this color in your beard.
There's so my kids, no, there's no Santa. They will be ruining other children's.
Oh, you're that
situations.
guy.
I'm that guy. Yep. Oh,
My
yeah.
kids are in their 20s and they think there's a Santa because the only way to get anything from Santa is to believe. So
There you go.
So I ruined that for your Dion's kids. I'm sorry. There is a Santa Claus. My 4-year-old and 2-year-old know there isn't, but it's cool. So yeah, no Santa. No Santa. Oh yeah. Yeah. We told, we actually tell them when we go out and drive around and look at houses, we say, we buy these houses, we take care of them, we give people a place to live, they pay us to live there, and the money that we make for them to live there buys your Christmas.
Oh, okay. So you tie it
So
together.
we use it as a financial lesson. Yep.
All right, that works.
Yep. Oh, I offended Dion. He's probably going to run and
He's
make
gonna go
he
get
has
his
a fucking
Santa's-
hit machine.
you
Santa's
can't
hat.
tell me there's no Santa. I actually know there's a Santa.
Oh,
No, my mug was getting empty. So
Ah,
that's awesome. All right. Tony Carr, SS Minnow. What the hell? Nice. Otherwise known as Gilligan's ship. Boat. No code on. Mike's course is so much more in reality than the courses I bought before. Yeah. So real quickly, Mike's one rental at a time, how to start one rental at a time. That course is absolutely fantastic. Dion's in it. I'm in it. Mike's ever diminishing role in it because he continues to add so much more content, but the concepts that are there, the core of what is there is enough to get you started one rental at a time. And then he's done an amazing job at bringing in amazing experts, yours truly and Dion. And then like 18 others, 16 others.
yeah, with more coming. I have big old list coming in January. I already have content stacking up. I want to release it in January.
Stacking content. So it's the course is worth its weight in gold. Buy it now before it goes up. It's $299 now. I imagine it's going to $9,995 after the first.
Yeah, just up.
Yeah. So, but well worth it. Don, thanks so much for the feedback. Take Mike to Comic-Con and have him meet up in San Diego in early July. Nice. And John Williams, the class of ship is Firefly. Yep, nailed that too. Chester Williams, congrats that John Williams got an early Christmas gift. Yes, he did. Great book.
if Olivia saw what Comic-Con is, she would not let Mike go.
Probably.
Yeah, I think I've heard of Comic-Con. I think my daughter went to Comic-Con once when she was
Really?
Oh, then we're not going to tell you what Comic-Con is if your daughter went.
Yeah, I think she did. I have to ask her. I know she talked about it. I don't know if she actually went though.
Is she into the same as like the gaming and the
No,
comic
but
books or the
some of her friends were, as I recall. This is like 20 years ago, right? She's in her 30s. So but,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, what are you saying? You're in your 30s, you can't go to Comic-Con?
No, I'm saying it's been 20 years since she said Comic-Con. So I'm trying to
Gotcha.
remember what she was doing back then. Sailor Moon, I think, was that a thing? Or is that a thing?
That was a thing.
So that's what I remember. Because she bought, she had, well, I remember she dressed it for Halloween one time. And I remember because I had to search for something. I had no idea what it was. Yeah, that was not fun for me. Yeah.
That's good dadding right there.
Oh, of course.
Good
You
dadding.
gotta, yeah.
Good
Sailor
dadding.
Moon. I don't have any idea where that came from. That just popped in my head.
That's awesome. Let's see. The goal of Chester Williams, the goal of 2022 for everyone, positive return on investment. Agreed. Do great deals, people.
Mhm.
Do great deals and get the and if you're on the bench, take the splinters out of your ass and do something.
Mhm.
Ho, ho, ho. Adam Calhoun, congratulations. John Scott Coleman. Will the 2022 midterm elections be decided on definitive proof of whether or not Santa Claus is real? I think those 2022 midterm elections are going to be brutal for one side. I think that there's going to be a lot of people getting up and walking out there and making sure to make their feelings known on exactly how difficult things have been and how Washington's seemingly been tone deaf. That's just my feeling. Anthony Russell, I'm in Atlanta market and finding rehab deals on MLS. Why are so many people biased against listed deals? Love your content, fellas. I think it's because a lot of people feel like they have to get like the super special squirrel, secret squirrel approach. All of us, literally all of us, all do deals on MLS. It's just not our own. It's not our only deal source. But
I
we all do
retired
deals.
financially
Yes.
free
Yes.
on MLS deals.
Yes.
Never did a deal off market until after I was retired.
So
I think
like a week ago, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the last thing I'll say on this topic is I think a lot of people bash on the MLS because they're not willing to do the work. They don't know what a deal is. So they get comfortable with idiot channels saying price is high, and you're not even doing the work. So I get very annoyed with people that don't do the work, hence do the work.
Like a week ago, Graham Stephan had Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets on his coffee hour for an hour.
I saw that.
And Graham Stephan was talking about when he made his content, he thought it was be evergreen. It would last forever because how you buy real estate is you go on the MLS and you find a property that's for sale 20% less than what it's worth. Because 2013, 14, 15, that was possible.
Absolutely.
He said he got out of real estate because you can't find those deals anymore. So you're right. If you need to find, like Meet Kevin says, a wedge deal where there's this big gap between what's really worth and what you're paying to make money, those don't exist. What we have in the current market is you need to find a property that will have cash flow that will yield what you need it to right on the MLS using traditional lending. Things like the binder strategy help because you can get rents closer to area average than what they're at when you're buying, as long as you're not in a rent control area. But doing the work every day to find the deal on the MLS is still possible and it still works.
Yeah, MLS. In fact, I always keep my last 5 deals that I did. And as far as where I bought them, 3 MLS. Yeah, I was like 3 MLS. See, it's count like my son. He's 4. Or actually more like my daughter at 2. But yeah, 3 MLS, 1 wholesale deal, and 1 off market. That's what my last 5 were. All right, we're wrapping up. We got a couple more minutes left. Chester Williams, thank you as always, gentlemen. P.S. Buy Michael's course now. Do not wait until 2022. I agree with Chester. Anthony Russell, I used to handle Comic-Con transportation for a division of Warner Brothers. That must have been fun. San Diego, a zoo, but a blast. Oh yeah, I can only imagine. That brought a whole new meaning to a zoo in San Diego. John Williams, my daughter's name is River. Oh, cool. Yeah. Don, Comic-Con, nothing like Ozfest. No, it is nothing like Ozfest. Nope. Journey Diaz, just curious, how much is Mike's course going up? I purchased it already, but just wondering. Mike, do you want to reveal that?
A lot.
Perfect. For those of you trying to quantify a lot, figure it out. I have no idea what a lot is. It's subjective. Honestly, so I look at courses all the time because I'm trying to do my own coursework and trying to figure out what a course should be. And I can tell you, if Mike's course went to $1,000, it'd still be wicked cheap. Legitimately, I've done the math. I've done the numbers, the number of people that are in the course, the data that's provided, the fact that it's all in one place, that you search for nothing. You just click download on that next chapter. $1,000 is cheap. Hopefully Mike wasn't listening. Rob, need trivia for Dion. What is Firefly based on, Dion?
Oh, the series is really The Black Ocean, but I don't know the names of the book. But I can quote from the series, In Space They Can't Hear You Scheme. I've listened to those. Yeah, so I'll have
clearly
to Google if that's the name of it.
Clearly missing out. Whole part of the world.
I have the audiobook.
Dion has all the free time that I don't have because I'm self-managing and flipping my own properties. Like, it's horrible. I could be playing all these fun games or living the lifestyle. Pallavi Patel, got on halfway, but enjoyed, appreciate all 3 of you providing the best encouraging education on REI. Merry Christmas to all the ORAT team. Best on earth. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Davis, Merry Christmas to all 3 of you. Thank you for giving of your time for us. All right, guys, we have 3 minutes left. No more questions. Let's do our Christmas wishes for folks. Dion, you are up first, good sir.
Well, so this is good and bad. I hope you have the year you deserve. This next year. If you've put in the work, it's going to be amazing. If you sit on the sidelines, you're going to be on the sidelines.
Yeah, that one smarted a little.
I think you're okay, Michael.
See, Mike can't be,
Help
or
you.
Matt can't be the
You're
only
all
mean one here.
Yeah. Yeah, that
But if
one
they
was
deserve an
Guys, being
amazing
the
year,
mean
they're
one
going
is
to have
my thing. I'm the Chewbacca mean one. I'm the mean Chewbacca.
Yeah, so I'll close with something very simple, and that is the difference between a spectator and a player is a choice. Everyone can decide to do it or not. It is on you. And I will no longer judge people that choose to be spectators. I just can't help you because I don't speak your language.
So coming from a ninth grade dropout, that's right. I just eliminated your excuse. I was a ninth grade dropout. What more of an excuse do I need? I could have absolutely been pumping your gas, but I'm not. So at the end of the day, we all do this. We all make the money that we make from our units and from managing our real estate businesses. We do this because we genuinely want to help people. We all come from different paths of life. What I love about Mike's channel, what I love about spending time with Dion and all the guys and all the folks that we spend this time with is that they're all real people, and almost all of them came from nothing, literally nothing. And so if you're just like, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, you might largely be right about that, but you're going to have to do the work because no one's going to do the work for you. So you know what? The only way that you can get going is by making the commitment yourself to get in the game and start to learn and understand and create a skill that will give you a return on any investment that you make on it. And with your most valuable investment being time, I can tell you the more time that you put in, the more skill you'll get out. And that just equals how much more money you can make. So I would encourage everybody to really think about that over the next week. And do you want next Christmas to be different than this Christmas? And if you do, then you better start taking action, because the fact of the matter is there's plenty of people getting in the game and you're just going to be that much further behind. So if you want next Christmas to be any different than this Christmas, might as well start a week early, get your mind right, start getting your money right, and start thinking about how you're going to make that happen in 2022. Gentlemen, as always, love spending time with you. I'm going to go not be Santa for my kids and have some fun. I'm sure I hear cackling out there. I don't know if it's crying or laughing, but we'll find out very soon. Gentlemen, as always, have a blast. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Later.
Take care.
Ciao.
See you, Dion.